Hello everyone, thanks for joining me here in this new tutorial. Today in this session we are going to discuss about Microsoft Azure Biceps. I'm your host Rakesh Suryavanshi and we are going to discuss Microsoft Biceps and things we know about the biceps. Let's begin. So I'm on the GitHub repository for Azure Biceps. I'll provide the link in the description about this particular repository. You'll find the details about how to install and start using the biceps. Basically, to install that, there are a couple of options you can use. If you're using Linux system, then you can follow this command. I'm using the Mac OS for my demonstration, so I've followed these particular given steps. So if you are using the depending upon the operating system you are using, you can go ahead and follow these steps, and then basically you can run the installation guidelines. So as for the just for the demonstration, I have already installed the biceps, and now if you look at I run the biceps dash dash help, I should get the help given by the biceps command. So this is the way you can go ahead and install it. So I've already installed that, and now to start having the demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code just for the demonstration. So I have opened this folder biceps. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it as main.bicep main.bicep. Don't be confused with the name of the folder which I have opened on the Visual Studio Code. You can give any name. Is just the project container or a folder wherein I'm going to put all my files. So inside that I've just created main.bicp, which is the name of extension file extension type biceps. And then once you create that particular file, it's as you can see, this file is totally empty. And now what I need to do here is I need to run a build command with that. So this is the exe bicep exe, and then build, which is the name of the command, and then the file name which I need to build. And then if I press enter, this should create a new ARM template JSON file with a blank structure. And if I open that, this is the blank structure which has been created for me, which is good, right? You don't need to write the whole set of structure, that what comes after what and all those things. And you are hardly getting a chance to make a mistake basically. So this is really cool. You're just running the command and it's generating the output for you. So let's create a resource first. So to create a resource, I need to define the resource block, which I can define it like resource and then the name of the resource. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with the Terraform tags or Terraform syntax, HCL syntax. So it looks similar to me on this biceps templates, and the concept looks similar to me. Like I think Microsoft is yet again work on the same topology wherein they are trying to use a similar type of syntax which what we have in the Terraform language. So here I'm going to use the name of the resource, and then the resource type as in resource, which says that I'm going to create a resource, then the instance name, and then the type of instance. For example, if I'm going to create a Microsoft dot storage account in this case, and then slash storage account, and you can say okay, storage account, and then the version of the storage account, basically 2019 06 01. So this is the way you define the type of resource which you want to provision, and then basically simply just you provide the name. So instead of JSON, you are just writing the storage name, which, as you know, that the storage name must be unique and it cannot go beyond 24 character. All should be in lowercase and should not have any special character. So do remember that while creating such resources that you are following the correct naming conventions. So let's say I'm going to define the location. So if I compare writing the RM template based compared to writing this Bicep language is pretty much easy, that I don't need to follow any indentations or anything like that, right? So I'm just creating it as is. So here I'm going to say storage. Yep. And then next is SKU, which is again one of the mandatory parameters which I need to define. So like you define it here in the your JSON format. So similar to that, I'm creating a standard and then LRS. So I've saved it just, and then if I run it again, the same command, bicp build main.bicp, then it should generate the output for me. And let's see if it has generated. Yeah, as you can see, the entire structure has been created for me. Yeah, and value must have the following parameters and all those things which is been given to me here, which is really cool. I'm writing it here and then it's generating it. And you can see I've installed a couple of extensions which says that the expected values are should be standard LRS, not double S. So that's why I was getting some compilation error. So if I compile it again and then rerun the command again, then the error should go ahead, and it's gone now. So everything is building perfect fine for me. So is just to revise again, this is the name of the keyword which I'm using it right now. So keyword is, for example, I'm going to create a resource, so I need to define the resource here. Yeah, and then this is the symbolic name for my resource, and then the type of resource which I'm creating here. And then you need to define different properties of the resources, for example, name, location, and all, right? So this is how you generate it. Now let's add a parameters to that. So what I'm going to do is, now let's add a parameters to my existing templates. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call param, that's the location, for example, and then the type of the location parameter is a string, and then I'll call it as in, let's say, East US for now. Okay, and now what I can do here is I can go ahead and use this location parameter as in location itself. This is how. And similar to that, if I go to the next parameter which is here, I can go ahead and define the kind parameter as in kind. So let's do that, or storage kind, I'll call it as in storage kind. Okay, so let me do that, and I'm going to use the storage kind like that. And if I'm going to compile it now, again I'm expecting the parameters blocks to be filled in. Let's see that. As you can see, the parameters are pre-populated based on the parameters which I've defined, which is really cool. I don't need to go ahead and adjust my parameters here. So whatever number of parameters which I'm passing on, I can provide it over there, and then based on those parameter values, the values is referenced here basically directly from these parameters, like I'm referring it in my Bicep syntax, which is again a cool feature. Now similar to that, let's go ahead and create a new variable here. So let's see how do we create a variable. To create a variable, what do I need to do is I need to create a var, and in this case I'm going to create a var is the storage SKU, and then I'll call it as an standard LRS, which is this, and then let's copy that and then paste it like this. So once I'm going to do that, build it, and let's see if the parameters are available. As you can see, the variable is a reference here, and I'm able to refer the variable directly here. If I compare the entire compilation structure or the language definitions or the declaration or declarative format, I'm I'm very used to this kind of format because I was using the uh, JSON input or the JSON syntactual input type with Terraform. So it is kind of a same thing, like to like same thing. If I compare the JSON syntax input in Terraform versus Bicep, so it is almost kind of the same thing. So I don't know if they have used a similar topology behind the scene, but it looks similar to me. I may be wrong on that, but it's good though. So it depends upon if you are a beginner, you might, and if your focus is just on the Microsoft, then it might possible that you prefer to use using the biceps. But if you are the passionate about writing code on the Terraform like I am, then I would prefer to go and use the Terraform as is instead of switching back to the bicep until unless in future bicep provides any additional feature which is not available in Terraform at all. So that could be the different case to choose biceps over Terraform. Let's move on now and then compile this and deploy it. Just before I do that, let's create the last thing, which is output as well. And here I can define the storage ID as an output. And what I can do here is, again, I need to define the type. When I try to define the type, it looks to me the type as in basically the defining a type like TypeScript, the way I define the variables in the TypeScript, wherein I define the values at the end. So let's build that and let's see if the output has been updated here. So it's really cool feature, isn't it? So now I have uh, the templates ready available for me to deploy. So let's go ahead and use this template for the deployment. To test the deployment, I'm just making sure that the storage account name is not been taken. So I'll change the storage account name and I've recompiled it using the build command just to make sure the ARM template is got updated with the given name. Now I have already created a resource group with the CLI command and the resource group is empty right now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the deployment command for deploying the resources. So basically I'm using the Azure CLI command, which is deploy, then the name of, and then group space create, and then the file name, which is the main.json file, and then the name of the resource group, which I have just now created. So if I'm going to run that, then basically it's going to use the main.json file, which has been created with this bicep configuration, and then it should deploy the output for me. Let's see. As you can see, it is running right now, and hopefully it should create the deployment pretty quickly. Refresh it here, and you can see the resource group has been created, and uh, and you get the full output with the resource group which has been created just now. And if I switch back, then the resource group should be available in a second. Yeah, here you go. So not resource group, sorry, pardon me, the storage account should be here, so which is here. So this is how you can use the biceps if you wish to. It is pretty easy, good to use, and hopefully they are going to provide few more updates which is going to be interesting. If there are any update, I'll try to follow those and view an update on my channel. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe it. See you soon with the next update on some more topics. Thanks for watching it.